Breaking news. Breaking news. The United States has taken Maduro and his wife flown out of the country, out of Venezuela. And I don't know where they're going, maybe back to the United States, extradited here. But they launched an attack in Venezuela overnight. And I've got a bunch of clips. And people were calling me in the middle of the night. I was like, what's going on? Something must be going on. And I was sleeping. I'm like, what's going on? I just woke up, turned on the TV, and put the news on, which is something rare. And I see what happened. And I'm like, holy, you know the word. Wow. I mean, wow. I'm getting ready to go on TikTok, but this is unbelievable. If you have not paid attention to what's going on, you need to turn the news on. Let me just write this on TikTok. President Trump to address nation, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And I got a bunch of clips that I downloaded. Wow. Wow. This is unbelievable what's happening, or what has happened. And this was a well-planned, well-thought-out capture of Maduro. This was unbelievable. I got to get caught. Holy cow. That's all I can say. This is wild. Unbelievable. A large-scale strike against Venezuela. This was a large-scale attack on Venezuela. If you have not been paying attention to the news, you should be watching the news. I got a bunch of clips to play that I downloaded. But it happened overnight. And you see the Apache helicopters coming in, taking out the anti-aircraft sites, as allegedly Maduro was riding in a vehicle trying to stay on the move. And they got him. And they flew him out of the country. And the president is going to have a press conference and address, not a press conference, he's going to address the nation at 11 o'clock this morning. Wow. And my friend was calling me in the middle of the night, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And I was sleeping. Bill, something's going down. And he was calling me and calling me. I was like, what? If he's calling me, there's something's going on. Then I woke up just now and I turned on the news because I figured maybe it was Iran. But no, it was Venezuela. And it was thorough. It happened so fast. And I'm going to start playing some clips because I've got a bunch of clips. Let me just get this ready. I can't believe it. All right, let's see. I downloaded them. I'm gonna see because I don't have them labeled. I'm just gonna play them and see what we got here. So this is what occurred overnight in Venezuela. And they captured him and his wife, and they flew them out of the country. I'm assuming they flew them back here to the United States. Look, I mean, I'm going to let some of these clips play. And it's unbelievable. Excuse me. like I said, I downloaded a bunch of clips. I'm pretty much seeing the clips for the first time anybody may be watching and seeing it right now. This was overnight in Venezuela. So this person is driving, and I want to play that clip again. And like I said, I've got a bunch of clips I downloaded. And this is obviously Caracas. This was thorough, swift, well planned out. Wow. Wow. Wow, look at that. Oh, we need to play this one again. And this happened throughout the country. Dude, you can call me anytime like when something like that happens. I just didn't realize it was this hitting the fan. Oh my gosh. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what happens now, today, and days ahead and weeks ahead in Venezuela. And do they put him in prison? What do they do? I mean, what happens to Maduro when he's probably being brought here? Wow. I've got more clips. This one is a little, it's at the wrong angle, but it kind of shows you what happened. Remember, the camera's off, but this is, again, this kind of shows you what happened last night or early this morning. Wow. KJ, you can call me anytime like that. I was out cold and the phone wasn't near me because I try not to keep the phone near me when I'm sleeping. You can call me anytime. I will never be mad. Holy. I'm looking for the other videos. Let's see. Wow. Iran better be paying attention. The supreme leader's like, holy shit. The rest of the world is definitely taking notice. Okay, let me go to another video. I like I said, I downloaded a few. Wow. 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 I got to see that one again. They had no chance, no defenses, none. None. Hold on, KJ. Well, this video seems a little longer, so I'm going to loop it. Hold on, I'm going to loop this video. Where's my AB? Let's go back. We need to AB this one, because this one has a little duration to it. People are messaging me right now. Wow. So this happened overnight. Maduro and his wife have been captured and flown out of the country. And the president is going to address the nation at 11 o'clock this morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's why when he says what he says, don't call his bluff. Do not call his bluff. And Iran, you better be taking notice. I'm going to take myself off camera for a second. You better be taking notice. Like I said, I'm going to play this clip again because it's one of the longer clips and it's compiled a bunch of the stuff that was going on overnight or early this morning in Venezuela. And he has, what I was reading is he was mobile. He was driving around Maduro with his wife in a vehicle, and they got him in the vehicle. And they flew him out of the country with his wife, probably on the way to the United States. And like I said, the president will be addressing the nation at 11 a.m. Eastern. One thing, they took out their air defenses. This was well done. Well done. I'm just saying, from a military perspective, this was well planned, well thought out. You could actually see the shadows of the helicopters on the shots too. Let's play the clip over right there. Now I'm going to make it full screen. Wow. I know, right? This is going to be interesting, to say the least. This press conference, not press conference, the president addressing the nation at 11 a.m. What's up, Genghis? So we struck Venezuela, and I would say a precision, well done strike, and captured Maduro and his wife, flew him out of the country. This is breaking. This is happening now. Well, it happened already. This was overnight, early this morning. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, what else can you say? Wow. And I'll mention it again. The president will be addressing the nation at 11 a.m. Eastern. And while this is going on, I just got to do a couple things in the background, so I'm going to let that clip play out for a second, because I have to get my pop-outs for the other platforms. Wow. President Trump to address nation 11 a.m. I'm fixing my title on the Rumbler Nation. Okay, that's done. But wow. I mean, like, seriously, wow. Look at that. Look at the... Oh, my... This is unbelievable. I'll check it out in a minute, KJ. Because I'm doing I'm scrambling here. I'm trying to get as many video clips as I can of what occurred early this morning, last night. But Maduro and his wife have been flown out of the country. And I'm gonna play another. Look at that. Look at that. Good morning, Skywalker. This is the clip that is got like the compilation. I'm gonna play another one right now because I downloaded a few. Let's see what this one. Okay, that one has. See that this is part of that clip we just seen. That one puts them all together. Wow. A lot of helicopters. And to fly them in that low, you know they took out their anti-aircraft. This is well done. Well done by the United States Armed Forces. I'm just saying. Well thought out. Well planned. And I haven't heard of any casualties or downed aircraft or... Now, also, what if we don't know what happened necessarily with civilians? All of that's going to come out slowly because this is breaking. This is fresh. This has just happened a few hours ago. Yeah, I would have to check. I don't think it's all done now, Genghis. It's over. It's done. This already happened. This is overnight. It's daylight now. It's over pretty much. It's done. All right, we're gonna play another clip. Like I said, I downloaded a bunch of clips. Boom. Wow. Wow. I mean, the images speak for themselves. I'm watching these. I downloaded them. I'm pretty much watching these for the first time like all of you. For real. Because I was woken up by people which don't apologize for waking me up. And that's why I say when the president says something, don't call his bluff. Do not call this man's bluff. He's not playing. Iran might learn that lesson soon. Now, as far as the geopolitical aspect here, Colombia must be nervous because they might be saying, we're next. Look at that. Free reign of the skies. If you've got helicopters flying that low, you're not worried about anti-aircraft. ABC News is freaking out there saying, what a... Oh, my God. He is no victim. First it was Chavez, and now it's Maduro. Are you kidding me? Those people, you know, after all said and done and settled, they're going to celebrate on the streets in Venezuela. In my opinion. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Wow. Wow. There's so many clips. And it wasn't just Caracas. They hit targets throughout Venezuela. Gotta wonder what Russia, China, Iran are wondering right about now after this. And I can only imagine. We need to scramble to meet at the UN. We have to have an emergency session immediately. You can imagine. You can only imagine the nonsense that's happening right now. You can only imagine. All right, hold on. I want to let this clip, because this is a clip that compiles most of them. I'm going to, it's an extended clip. I'm going to let this one run. And I'm going to loop it. So let me just go to the end of the clip so I can loop it. Right here. Now we'll play this clip, because this pretty much shows an extended compilation of the activities that occurred. This was well done. Well done. Well, they took out their infrastructure, their defensive positions, anti-aircraft. It pretty much, I'm sure they hit their bases, the Venezuelan bases, so they couldn't get in the air. Not like they have a big air force, but, you know, they did have old Russian planes, and they had anti-aircraft defenses supported by Russia. Who else knows what else? I think Iran had a little hand in there, in China. But I think it was mostly Russian. But wow. I mean, this is a wow. And remember, the president will address the nation at 11 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, they definitely targeted defensive measures. They had to. When you see helicopters flying that low, they're confident that they're not going to get shot at. Dusty says, I'm watching the AP channel right now. A few protesters out, but they are not too hyped up like you would figure after an event like this. Oh, and they support the old. Yeah, you're always going to, like we were talking about this last night. In any situation, you're always going to have individuals that support a regime, you know, the government. Because I saw a video last night, and it was two Iranian individuals dressed up in fatigues, like military fatigues, and they were holding the old flag of Iran with the lion. And a guy comes up and tries to pull it away. He says he supports the regime. And then he tries again, and they pushed him. So you're always going to have the people that are in support because they're tied to the regime. They're directly to the corruption, the money, everything. Excuse me. So you're always going to have sympathizers because they're probably connected in some way to the regime. But my gosh, this was, I mean, people may, whatever they may think about what just happened, this was well done by the United States Armed Forces. Well done. This was, this is impressive, what we just pulled off. And to get him and his wife and fly them out of the country. So that means they probably landed in an Apache helicopter or some type of aircraft to get him into that aircraft and fly him immediately out. That is wild. Wild. If you think about it, the logistical difficulties and the intelligence, the precision, knowing where he is, tracking him. Now, they may have people on the inside of Venezuela because we have people on the ground providing, intelligence in real time. So this is well done. You don't know if you're impressed? Again, I'm not saying in a political point of view here, whether it's impressive or not. You may have your thoughts about why did we do this or whatever. I'm talking about this is impressive how we went in, coordinated strikes, limited to definitely not causing any really civilian casualties, taking out the military assets, going in, capturing Maduro and his wife, and flying them alive out of the country. With minimum, if not any, casualties to our forces. That is, it is like the perfect scenario in a planned strategic attack like this. I mean, from a military point of view, this is well done. Again, I'm not talking about the casualties on the ground. And if there's civilian casualties, KJ, on the ground, I'm sure it's minimal. And I know that's easy to say it like that because you try to prevent as much civilian casualties as possible. I mean, in any kind of conflict, it's sad, tragic, but that happens. But you try to minimize it. And like I said, to me, this was well done in a military perspective, getting the intelligence, planning this out, coordinating it, hitting the strikes with precision, allowing the helicopters to fly over like that, over Caracas. Look at that. They're just free reign flying low altitude over Venezuela. That's what I mean, Genghis. I know what you're saying. And I respect what you're saying. You know what I mean? In any situation, there's always going to be the pros and cons on how you look at things. But my gosh. And I'm telling you, in 3 hours, it's going to be really interesting to see what the president says. It's also going to be really interesting to see the response on the ground. And I'm going to pause now because I have a lot of clips. It's going to be really interesting to see on the ground the response of the people of Venezuela. Because their vice president, I saw a clip, it's in Spanish, was like, we don't know what happened to him. We don't know where he is. His vice president. So that's something to watch today. On the ground in Venezuela, how the people react. I guarantee there's going to be a lot of people, because when you live under oppression and afraid to speak out, you're subdued because you're afraid of any kind of retaliation, intimidation, being arrested, put in prison. Same thing happens in Iran. It's going to be really interesting to see the coverage in Venezuela now after this just happened. And there's a lot going on in Iran right now. And I was watching Iran's state television and how they're saying if the United States interferes, you need to protect your soldiers, like saying they would attack U.S. bases. Do not interfere with our internal affairs. You know that. Well, I'm sure Iran is paying attention to what just happened in Venezuela. I would. Now, what is Russia thinking right now? What is China thinking right now? What is Iran thinking right now after seeing this? I mean, does that embolden them to make moves on their own? Like China with Taiwan? Look what the United States is doing in Venezuela. What's to stop us now from doing something? It's like I said, there's going to be condemnation, you know that, global condemnation for this. You know that's coming. Like I said, I wouldn't doubt there's an emergency meeting in the Paper Tiger BS UN today over this. The United States just attacked a sovereign country. You know all that's coming. What's the fallout from this? And how does this affect the infrastructure, the political power in Venezuela? Like, what happens now? I forget her name, but does she become the new president of Venezuela? She won the Nobel Peace Prize, I believe. I can't remember her name. Excuse me. Does she become the interim president of Venezuela? Like, who's going to take charge of Venezuela right now? The vice president? She's female. Like I said, she was on the news frantic in Spanish. We don't know where he is. We don't know if he's alive. Like, I was like, whoa. Whoa. Dusty says, the Joint Task Force strike is, I don't want to say certain words, is a heck of a thing. I participated in one after Desert Storm in Kuwait during another mission. It was Air Force, Army, and Navy where we all struck at once. Well, you could see this was well coordinated, what just happened. Well coordinated. Maduro will not be seen for now, I guess. Well, Bill Clinton ordered the capture of multiple leaders in Serbia. I don't think we're going to see Maduro, his wife, like, put on stage in handcuffs to put out there, like, some prize. It's probably going to be brief, maybe 10, 15 minutes when the president addresses the nation at 11 a.m. just to state what happened, and that's it. You're not going to see Maduro. I highly, highly doubt that. You got to remember, he's in transit, wherever they flew him to, being detained, all that. Yeah, you make a good point. I'm trying to get to read all the chats because I'm streaming on multiple platforms. I don't know if it's, I'll just say Amoy. No trial, just hidden, I guess. And Freeman says Bill Clinton ordered the capture of multiple leaders in Serbia that stood trial in the United States. Oh, remember, do you remember Mr. Pineapple? Noriega? And like you're bringing up some really interesting points too, valid. It's not like this hasn't happened in the past. I mean, Noriega was taken. So there's a history here, for sure. And, you know, like, and I'm just going to read people's comments. Glasser Girl says, capture Trump and fly him to The Hague. And The Hague is for war crimes. So, again, there's a lot of, you know, varying opinions, which I totally respect because there's a lot of different ways to look at this. And like I said earlier, they're going to say a sovereign country was just attacked by the United States. For what reason? You know that's definitely a point that's going to be made. So, like anything else, it's complicated and there's two sides, if not very complicated gray area here. Like, what is the justification for these actions to take out the president of a sovereign country? That is a legitimate point that you're making. Totally. So that's why we have to see how this plays out, really. And this is what's going on here. Remember, Venezuela is one aspect here, and I've done a lot of research. They are not responsible for the fentanyl coming into this country or the cocaine that comes to the United States. A lot of the drugs that come into the United States, the fentanyl, it's all coming from Mexico. And the precursors come from China. Cocaine is Colombia. A lot of the drugs that are smuggled into the United States are through points of entry, and 83.5% are U.S. citizens that are arrested smuggling fentanyl into points of entry into the United States. United States citizens. So fentanyl is not the issue here. And like I said, this is about the oil. In my opinion, this is about the oil. I'm just going to state that. A lot of because Venezuela was a transit nation. A lot of the drugs were going to Europe. 90% of the drugs that were transported through Venezuela were going to Europe, not here. Mexico is the one that is responsible for the vast majority. And I have an actual PDF that was done by the United States government this year, well, now last year, that was submitted to Congress, and it says clearly that Mexico is the nation responsible as a transit country bringing the drugs into the United States. Why I bring this up? Is Mexico next? Is Colombia next? Is Peru next? Is Bolivia next? There's two. This is President Obama did it. Other presidents have done this too. Exactly. And Iran was dealing with Venezuela for oil. China. Yes. And all of you are bringing up valid points. And again, you could look at this from different perspectives. And I'm trying to be objective and picking out the different points of view from either side of opinions. Because this is, this is going to be, and I'm just trying to get to everybody's comments. Oh my gosh, my friend Skywalker, because he advised me to take black seed oil. He's making a joke. They are going to get all the black seed oil. Oh my God. And it's not funny, but it's a private joke between him and I. Just because you don't see a public trial doesn't mean one didn't take place. Military courts do exist, and they are not subject to the same privileges of public trials. Excellent point. And Dusty's a veteran, and he knows. I'm streaming on multiple platforms, so I'm trying to get to all your comments. Now let me see what TikTok is saying. Rather, U.S. control that oil. Now remember, and I did research on this, the United States had oil companies in Venezuela. And they're pretty much, and there's still trade going on with Venezuela. That oil is coming out of Venezuela and still arriving in the United States. I don't know if it's Exxon, Chevron, one of them. There's still oil coming from Venezuela to the United States. That's a fact. Remember the blockade? Well, some of the oil tankers that were allowed to leave were coming to the United States. But the president even said, we want the land back. We want the oil back. They stole it from us. That's what this was about. And you also need to look at who in government, whether Republican or Democrat, are invested in stock in oil companies, the big oil. They both are on both sides. It's almost equal. It's like a bipartisan stock market. And this is why Marjorie Taylor, I think it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think it was Nancy Mapes wants to stop this stuff that's going on, insider trading kind of stuff with the stocks by congressional officials. Like, could you imagine if you knew this was coming, you had stock in something? So there's a lot here to unpack. There's a lot. But I do want to show you that document because I think it's important. And I also I'm going to show more clips in a second. Oh my God, I'm getting crazy messages. I want to show you this document because I think it's very important. And I have a lot. I just got to make sure I get the right one. Because I always whenever I see an important PDF, because it's good to provide facts when you talk about stuff, not just opinion. You know what I mean? International Narcotics Strategy. This is it, I think. The 2025. Oh, yeah, this is it. I want you to see this document. This is an actual document done by the United States government. And it states it clearly. Okay? When we think about what this is about. All right, hold on. Now we're going to go right to Mexico. Narcotics Control Strategy Report. It was done in March of 2025, and this was given to Congress. So let's go to where it says fentanyl. We can go to 89, but let's go to Mexico. Let's find what page Mexico is on. This is something done by our own government and was submitted to Congress. 263. Let's go to 263. Why don't we? Mexico. Just to put this in real perspective on the BS when they say the drugs are coming from Venezuela, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Here we go. Mexico is the principal source and transit country for illicit drugs trafficked to the United States, including fentanyl, methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, and marijuana. Mexican suppliers are responsible for production of most fentanyl, heroin, and methamphetamine destined for the United States. Mexico is the largest source country of fentanyl and fentanyl analogs trafficked to the United States. Mexico-based Sinaloa and the New Generation Jalisco cartels are the primary distributors of fentanyl and fentanyl analogs in North America. Companies in the People's Republic of China are the largest source of precursor chemicals and equipment used to manufacture illicit fentanyl and other synthetic drugs in Mexico. So this says it all right there, right here. It's Mexico. It's not Venezuela. It's Mexico. Mexico is the main country transporting these illicit drugs into the United States. Fact. That's a report done by our own government and submitted to Congress. Period. Facts matter. That's an actual government document that I downloaded. Another thing to watch. So, there's going to be questions asked. What was this really about? Why did you attack Venezuela? What was the intention here? What is the strategy? What is the real reason? Drug boats? Cartel boats? They're not even coming here. I'm going to show you something else if I have it on my bookmarks that I saved. There's more information. And I'm just pointing out different perspectives and, because you could look at it from this from different angles. Okay. Look at this chart. Look at this chart I'm about to show you on the screen. This is the data. Fentanyl from Mexico, 100%. Cocaine from Colombia, 90 to 98%. Colombia may be next. Methamphetamines, 100% pretty much. Heroin from Mexico, 90%. So where's the real problem? Mexico. And here's where it breaks it down. Mexico, Colombia, China, Peru. And you can see the ties here. China to the fentanyl. Mexico, heroin. Mexico here. Colombia is the cocaine. Mexico is the transit hub for everything that comes to the United States. It is Mexico. And that 25 U.S. government report is the one I just showed you that I downloaded right here. The one that the media probably doesn't even put out there and show the public. This is what's going on as far as the drugs is concerned, right here. And you could look up your own statistics. It's important to get government docs, not opinionated docs. That was done by our own government. Yes, Colombia is the producer. Absolutely. Cocaine? It's Colombia. It's cocoa. Peru too. Bolivia. But cocaine really is Colombia. Colombia may be next. They must be freaking out, scrambling right now. But we always hear about the fentanyl. That is China providing the materials and the infrastructure to make it in Mexico, and it comes here. And go look up how many U.S. citizens are arrested trying to smuggle it in on trucks and vehicles and on person through legal points of entry coming into the United States. Do you know how much money is exchanged coming from the United States out to Mexico? By American citizens. Not anyone else. American citizens. Do your own research. You will be like, whoa. So this is a little bit more complicated and deeper than people realize. Also, like I said, do a little research on your own time, because this is about what happened in Venezuela. I'm going off on a tangent a little bit to give you a little background on the reasoning you're going to hear and have heard about why we did what we did in Venezuela. Just to keep this in context. So do your own research. I would advise it. How many people in the current situation are invested in the oil companies that have to gain like this by now making maybe Venezuela a friendly oil nation? Do you realize Venezuela has one of the largest oil reserves in the world? You think this is about drug boats? Really? I mean, let's really look at this objectively and for what it is. realistically. You know what I mean? But regardless, what's done is done. We've seen what happened overnight. I'm going to play the video again, the compilation video of what happened last night. Unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. And Maduro and his wife were flown out of the country, probably on their way to the United States, or who knows? Are they on their way to Guantanamo? I don't know. We don't know. We're going to have to wait till the president addresses the nation at 11 a.m. and see what kind of information we get from that. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, dude, if Trump wanted the oil, we would have taken over the country, but he didn't. That's not the point. You put somebody in power, a puppet person, to create relationships, to establish relationships, to get our companies back in. You don't have to take over the whole country. You just put the people in power that you're going to negotiate and work with to make it happen. You're not going to take over the whole country to take the oil. You put in people in place, in power, like a puppet regime that you could work with. Just like what the Crown Prince of Iran in exile said yesterday. Did you see that? After the president supported and saying, we will rescue the Iranian people, well, the Crown Prince that's in exile, the eldest son of the Shah, said, thank you, Mr. President, for your support. We will create new, prosperous peace with the United States. And he put a picture. This is the Crown Prince of Iran from decades ago when the Shah was in power, with huge U.S. flags flying side by side with the Iranian flag. So they know that if the supreme leader, if the regime falls in Iran and he comes into power, now the United States has someone friendly to work with in Iran to reestablish relationships. That's what it's about. You should go look at that. I'll pull it up. I was like, whoa. And this was yesterday. I'll read it. And that's what it's about. You don't have to take over a country. You just replace those in power to make them more friendly and work with relations with. That's what regime change is about. It's not just for the people. Of course, it's the people who could benefit, or there could be civil war and unrest for God knows how long. That's where it gets dicey. You don't know what's going to happen now in Venezuela or in Iran. Just listen to what he said. I don't know if you've seen it, but I get your point. Who wrote that? Okay, I get your point. Crown Prince, Iran. Let's see if I get the article because I had it yesterday. Here we go. So this happened yesterday. A little after 12, President Trump posts this. This was at 12:19 yesterday on Truth Social. If Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Then the exiled Crown Prince of Iran, the eldest son of the Shah, releases this. And I'm going to share it on the screen. And I was like, whoa! That's why I said you don't have to take over a country. You just have to have this happen. President Trump, thank you for your strong leadership and support of my compatriots. This warning you have issued to the criminal leaders of the Islamic Republic give my people greater strength and hope. Hope that, at last, a president of the United States is standing firmly by their side. As they risk their lives to end this regime's 46-year reign of chaos and terror, they send me with the responsibility and a message to seek the relationship Iran once had with America that brought peace and prosperity to the Middle East. I have a plan for stable transition for Iran and the support of my people to get it done. With your leadership of the free world, we can have a legacy of lasting peace. And he posted a photo back in the 60s or 70s when the Shah of Iran, his father, was in power. And look at the U.S. flags flying with the an older Iranian flag with the lion. Not the current, but the one that existed before the Islamic Revolution. That is a powerful message. That's powerful. That's what it's about. Putting in a more friendly government that you can work with. That happened yesterday. And you know what's going on in Iran. Today, if you think what's going on, what just happened with Venezuela overnight, early this morning, we have to keep an eye on Iran. Because the people are growing in numbers. And if you haven't been paying attention, you should definitely be paying attention to what's going on in Iran too. Because that might be the next cray-cray that breaks out. So again, you can look at this, and I respect everyone's opinion here. Because everybody's opinion matters. Everyone has a voice and should be heard. Whether people agree or disagree, as long as it's done respectfully, that's what it's about. And everybody has the right to speak their opinion, right? And again, you could look at this from so many different perspectives. And that's what I'm trying to show you. There's many ways to look at this, depending whether you support or against it. Like somebody mentioned, look, if Putin landed anywhere in Europe, he gets arrested for war crimes. And, you know, there's other, that's just an example. So, now Miss Sunshine Sense go to the night and taking them out. I mean, they hit targets in Venezuela. They actually, so it's you can't really make a comparison, but I get your point, Miss Sunshine, totally. You know what I mean? Again, what's going to happen now is the UN is definitely going to have an emergency meeting, but we all know that the UN is a paper tiger, especially when you're dealing with the security nations that have veto power or can abstain, you know, all that. There's going to be definitely, like right now, they're scrambling in the UN. They have to be. You know that. But everybody's paying attention to what happens at 11 o'clock this morning when the president addresses the nation. You know that. And yes, think about Maduro, and before Maduro was Chavez. Everybody on TikTok is making great, valid points. And I'm going to read what's going on here with race. No puppet, I can't read that. No puppet, bro, he lost the election and refused to step down. Yes, he did. The female then set out to arrest his opponent. That sounds like a familiar thing, right? It makes sense. It's a world game played by every superpower. None of this is anything new. True. The United States is the only nation that holds the world up from falling into the dark ages again. If we fail, it will be 1,000 years before we would see it again. Great points. Again, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. You know, it's who's going to bomb us and capture, and another doesn't like what he's doing. Like I said, you're all making great, valid points. I don't know. Again, I don't know if Congress was informed. I don't know. All this is fresh. It just happened. We have to see how this all plays out. But I'm curious to see, and you know how the mainstream media is, if they're going to cover it the way it should be covered. But I'm really curious to see like independent images, video coming out of Venezuela today to see how the people of Venezuela are reacting to this. And again, there's always going to be supporters of a dictator, regime, all that. We know that. But what is the majority of the people in Venezuela feeling and thinking right now when they realize the implications and what just happened in their country? And is that the female leader that was, like my friend brought up, was elected. Is she going to be now brought in? Because she left. The United States helped get her out. And she went to get her Nobel Peace Prize. Is she now going to come back in and be sworn in as the new president of Venezuela? So this is a fluid situation. And I'm telling you, is Colombia next? Is Mexico next? Now, those cartels, they gotta be put, they definitely on, they're nervous, as they should be. She's only the vice, but a vice replaces, who's the second in command after the president? There's a lot. You're all making great points. There's a lot that we have to see how this plays out. No, they have a guy, a general. That's the Maduro aspect. All right, let me get this. I think I have to pull it up because there's a lot of things going on TikTok. I can't remember her name. Marina Corina Machado. She was part of the opposition. That's her name. So is she going to be the one? And again, see, this is a Reuters article. You ready? For the questions coming on TikTok. U.S. recognizes Maduro's opponent as the winner in Venezuela election. That's who the United States is recognizing. And she went to get her Nobel Peace Prize. The United States helped get her out. But that's who they're supporting. Is she going to be the one that's inserted as the legitimate, recognized president of Venezuela? So, because right here, it was questioned right here. So, again, is that what we're going to see happen next? I bet you we do. And Deep Sea Angler says, Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia will be president, won by a landslide. And they still haven't captured. I'm not aware of that one, who's like the right hand of Maduro. Diosdado, who is like the right hand of Maduro. See, I'm not aware of that, which is information. He won 90% of the votes. Maduro still stayed in power. Not the female. She's been in hiding. She didn't go get her prize. The United States smuggled her out. You know that, right? She did go. The United States got her out of the country. Yes. Exactly, I agree. This operation is still in its early stages. Let's see what the president has to say. That's exactly what I'm waiting for. Totally. Again, this is a fluid situation. And there's a lot of emotions right now. There's a lot of things going on, whether you're pro or against. And everyone has obviously a legitimate opinion. Everyone. That's our individual right to express ourselves, whether you agree or disagree. To me, everyone has a voice and an opinion. And I would never talk down on somebody's point because that happens too much in this country as it is. So all of you are expressing valid points coming from your perspectives. You know what I mean? And that's the way it should be, right? being able to communicate with each other and talk about our differences. Go look up, do the research, how many invested in oil stock with these big companies. It's almost even. Democrats and Republicans, how they're invested in the stocks of these big oil companies. Because I looked that up when all this was going on, starting to go on. Including a few in the current administration. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. Do the research. And the president stated, we want the land back. We want what was ours. They took it from us. He said that, what, a week or so ago? Publicly? He said it. He said his true intention. So is anybody surprised? Okay, I'm reading what's going on here now on the other chats. Okay, Venezuela president actually met with China earlier in the day. He was freaking out. We showed off his money. That's what the whole plan was, to cut off his money supply with the oil. Just like, look at Iran's economy right now. They're collapsing. You know, oh no. My TikTok stopped. I gotta go back live. Shit. I wasn't paying attention. I'm back. I'm getting a lot of TikTokers responding. I mean, I just came back. I just lost a lot of people were watching on TikTok. And, you know, I have to be respectful to people. It's about being respectful to people. So I wasn't paying attention to TikTokers, and it went out due to inactivity. You know how that works. I'm reading everybody's comments. Iran is definitely rattled right now. And like I read what the president stated yesterday, and then what the crown prince in exile wrote. Iran right now must be freaking out watching what just happened in Venezuela. And the people, I think today or tomorrow, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm excited by this, because those people, they're brave and they're trying to stand up to that regime. We need to pay attention today or tomorrow too, what might happen in Iran and Tehran. If tens of thousands, if not more people march toward Tehran, what is the IRGC going to do? Are they going to stand in protecting Tehran? Are they going to engage with the people? Are they going to fire amongst their people, against their people? Or are they going to join the people? Keep an eye on Iran. I can't answer that because people watch the stream Toxic, and then they'll know the communication aspect. Do you understand? Not yet. Not yet. You know what I'm saying? But I'm reading what you're writing in chat. That depends on their constitution. Yes, that's her. So Toxic said, elected by the people yesterday, Iran is rattling right now. They threaten her and her family. Yeah, he set out to have her arrested. So again, I apologize to those on TikTok, but it stopped due to inactivity. But despite what's going on right now and what just happened in Venezuela, it's fluid, like we've been talking. I'm going to put a clip to show everybody what happened last night, because I got a bunch of clips. So I'm just going to show you that because I've been talking for too much, kind of. Deal? So this is what happened last night, or early this morning. So I'm going to play this so you could see This is like a compilation of videos that were taken in Venezuela. It's about a minute long. And please just remember, everybody has an opinion, and just respect each other on TikTok chat, please. But we all have a voice and we all have an opinion. Whether we agree or disagree, we do it with respect. I'm just playing this video so you could kind of see what occurred. And he was in his vehicle driving around because he was trying to stay on the move. Starla, I send my love to you, and I hope you get better. I will pray for you. I'm gonna light a candle for you. But they took out their anti-aircraft installations, defensive postures, because look how low these helicopters are coming in. I mean, and they're coming in numbers. Which probably one landed somewhere and scooped up Maduro and his wife and flew him out of the country. I'm assuming that. So yeah, this is what happened last night. And I have, like I said, a bunch of clips. There's just like so many. Look at this. Wow. So there you go. And like I said, I've got a few of these clips. That person was scrambling. Look at that. And I'm just trying to show you what happened. I'm not trying to make this like something. I'm just trying to show people that have not seen what happened. I mean, like I said, I was spending a little while just trying to get, yes. I've been keeping monitoring flight radar for like the last few weeks on that strike group, Candy. And it's fun. It's kind of, I don't want to say funny because I don't consider this like funny, but last night I was checking flight radar around Venezuela, and it was like a triangle formation around it, like something was about to go down. And a few hours later, my friend KJ is calling me, and I'm sleeping. And he's like, Bill, something's going on. Something's about to go down. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm sleeping. Keep me posted. So yeah, these are just some of the clips coming out. Out of the country. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of this on mainstream media. So you get the idea. I know you can't see what's on there. No, you're right. But I think we should all pay attention. I think most of us will, to what the president says at 11 a.m. this morning, addressing the nation. I think that's something I think a lot of us are going to be paying attention to. It's in a little over 2 hours from now. Who do I have today? Off topic. I hope the 49ers win against the Seahawks. That's a little off topic, but yes, 49ers. What's this now? TDS is going nuts on the mainstream. I can only imagine what mainstream is doing right now. I can't even imagine. You know? But again, this is such, like people in TikTok were saying, this is a fluid, we have to see, this is a fluid situation. It's just happened. And I'm definitely tuning in to what the president has to say. Can you rate my PDF? You want me to look at that right now? Can I do it later? My military buddy just... Oh. No, I'm getting a bunch of messages. All right, I'm just trying to get to everything because I'm getting multiple messages on a lot of things. I'm just trying to read all your comments too. I'm very hopeful for the country of Venezuela and its people. Mainstream is portraying it as a bad. You know, it's so easy to talk about from the outside looking in. That's why I said it's going to be interesting to see how the people of Venezuela react to this. We could all look at it from the outside looking in, but what do the people think? And I think a vast majority of people are going to be celebrating. I'm making an assumption, but I think, but we don't know, because there could be, the military may have taken over this now and trying to keep everything under control. It becomes a militarized state. We don't know. It's not like instant, yay! Because someone can just step in, like somebody mentioned about Maduro's right hand. Somebody might fill his void right away. We don't know. We just don't know. We don't know how this is going to play out. It's way too early. We have to see how this goes in the next few days, weeks, even months. So, like, it's just so fluid right now. See, that's, but Skywalker, that's going to be the rhetoric coming from a side. You know that. But so does the president. He knows that's coming too. And obviously, you think he cares about that? It's like, okay, try it. So, like I said, let's see what the president has to say at 11 a.m. Hopefully, during the day today, we're going to see some images coming out of Venezuela to see what's going on there on the ground and how people are reacting, because they live there. Let's see if we hear any positions, rhetoric coming out of Venezuela by whomever to try to control the chaos. And don't forget, while this is going on in Venezuela, keep an eye on Iran. So what a way to start the new year, huh? However you look at this, from whatever perspective, what a way to start the new year. However you view this. For, against, and I think we really need to pay attention to what happens in Iran. And yes, Juniper, that could be part of it too. Is this some sort of a deflection? The shiny object, everybody's now focused on this? It's a valid point. James, that's what I said earlier. Other countries like Russia and China's like, man, maybe we should take Taiwan. And like you said, Russia, look what the United States just did in Venezuela. Why aren't we doing that in Ukraine? And scoop up and get Zelensky. That's a valid point. You're all making valid points on TikTok, all of you. Because it opens up a lot of doorways here, and maybe not so good ones either. If he can do this with no kind of consequences to the actions, why can't we? Do you know what I mean? Like I said, everybody in TikTok, you're making valid points, all of you. China reuniting Taiwan. I couldn't read the whole comment. Zelensky. And do you think that Putin is really the legitimate president, leader of Russia? You're going to make comparison to Zelensky, to Putin? What happens to his opposition? That's a whole different topic and discussion in itself. So let's not even start with that one. Maduro regime is a narco government that acts like a cancer for the region. They're a transit country. The real cancer is Mexico, of what comes into this country. I showed you a U.S. document that was done this year and given to Congress that Mexico is the primary source of the drugs that come into the United States. as a transit country, not Venezuela. And I pulled up the document. It's an actual U.S. government document that was submitted to Congress. So, just to be clear, and I have the document to prove it. And it was given to Congress. The public isn't aware of it, probably, but because people go what they see. They are celebrating the removal of Maduro. It's all over TikTok. See? People in Venezuela are celebrating. Yeah, oh, Colombia is definitely paying attention, Pete. Oh, I mean, Candy. I thought it was Pete, but Pete, you're right, too. I want to see that. Do you think the Panama next? That's a great question. But he has brought that up in the past about the Panama Canal. He has brought that up. So, like I said, all of you, this is very fluid. Yeah. And again, that's why you have to be mindful of what the media is going to put out there, because a lot of the media is going to try to make this look as a bad thing. But meanwhile, that's what I said earlier. How are the people in Venezuela? It's one thing to judge from the outside based on political affiliations and what are the people in Venezuela thinking and feeling right now? That's what's important. Everybody can have their opinion from a political persuasion, opinion. But what are the people in Venezuela? What is their reaction right now? That's important. And I agree with that. We need to see that. Truly see that. Without media bias. Because it really is about the people of Venezuela. And that is the big question, yes. But will the media portray it fairly? You know? That is, and look at what's going, like I said, I keep going back. Look what's going on in Iran right now. And I've had comments when I was talking about this yesterday. What's in it for us? What's in it for them? Forget about what's in it for us. What's in it for the people that live there? That's their country. They live under oppression, intimidation, censorship, cruelty. To me, that's what it's about. And, you know, what's in it for us? How much money do we spend, billions and billions of dollars, putting carrier groups in the Persian Gulf, bases? What? We get nothing out of it? Because somebody mentioned that yesterday. We don't get nothing out of this. What, are you kidding me? Do you know how much taxpayer money goes to put our forces there and risk their lives because of the Iranian threat? Whether you agree with it or not, there's still a cost to the taxpayer. So yes. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of ways to look at things. And I'm just saying one part perspective. There's many. Like all of you are coming out with so much in TikTok. And the thing is, we all have our opinions, and that's okay. Whether we agree or disagree, that's okay. As long as we keep it respectful to each other, it's all good. Because that's what makes us individuals. And thank God we have those freedoms that we can express ourselves like that. Right? And yes, absolutely, the influence of Russia, China in our backyard. There's no doubt about that. Yes. It's good to have a conversation, a debate, a healthy debate where people talk and listen to each other. And, you know, if we are swayed by the media one way or the other, that's all we know. We don't, see, like me, I'll be honest, I'm in the middle. I'm a moderate, but I look at things on both sides. And I'm objective. I hear what this says, and then I kind of like reach my own conclusion. But I'm looking at everything and what everybody says, everything. I'm not dug in. I'm not one of those people, which can come off pretty bad because it's like a lose-lose situation, because on one side you might go this way one day, and then on the other next day you might be on this. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily a good spot for me to be in. But at least I'm trying to be objective and respect everyone that's saying what they're saying on any of these chats. Because you know what? Some of the things you say make me think. And, you know, that's a great point. Remember when things used to be like that? Juniper, I'm like with you right there. I'm like right there with you. I'm right there, like exactly what you just said. It's kind of like, anyway. No, it's not complacent. That is not the problem. The problem is the divisiveness and the back and forth, getting nothing done. It's either you or us. You're the enemy. I'm right. You're wrong. No, that is not complacency. It's broken because of the divisiveness in this country. That's why shit is the way it is. Because there's no compromise and people aren't working together and communicating with each other. No, it's actually the opposite. We need people to come together and have a conversation and talk to each other and compromise. So broken right now. It's so bad. It's always been an issue, and there's nothing wrong with that. The debate, the policies, whether you're a conservative, liberal, but that's always been part of politics. But now it's like so like this that there's no communication. You know what I mean? And that's why I say here on TikTok, it's great to see people put out their opinions, whether you agree or disagree with them. It's good. I think it's important that people have a voice and speak their voice. That's just my opinion. You know what they say about opinions, right? And I'm trying to get to all your comments because I got multiple things going on. I agree with what Toxic says too. It's this, like I said, there's so much going on. Yeah, it's always been an issue. This is not something new. Right, Brandon? See, Brandon brings up a point. U.S. completed something in hours which Russia couldn't do in 4 years. I mean, you may not like it, but that's a legitimate point. Because I think initially Russia thought they were going to take Kyiv like this and it was going to fall. It didn't work out that way, did it? I think they thought it was going to happen quick. What do you mean? Why do you want to sound New Yorkish when you know you're not? Are you crazy? I live in New York. I was born and raised in the Bronx. What do you mean I'm New Yorkerish? Are you kidding? I can't believe somebody even said that. Oh my gosh. That's funny in itself. I don't live in New York City anymore, but I was born in Manhattan and lived most of my life in the Bronx. Are you kidding? I hear you, Skywalker. I hear you. I hear you. You're laughing. And now, Albanian Queen. When I used to live in the Bronx, near Pelham Bay, it was predominantly Italians, and then Albanians started to move in, and it got mixed up. You know that if you're from New York, right? Now, I don't know where you were in the city, but that happened. It started to change, and believe it or not, they went after each other, and I seen it literally with my own eyes. The stuff that was going on between the Italians and the Albanians in the Bronx, Pelham Bay, Throggs Neck. Oh, I seen it. Pelham Parkway. I used to hang out in Pelham Bay Park with the metalheads. That's another conversation. So see, Albanian Queen knows the deal. You've seen it all the time in Brooklyn. Yeah, I've seen it all the time in Brooklyn. Castle Hill. Oh my God. Castle Hill. I used to live, well, at one time near Westchester Square Hospital, near Zariga, which is not far from Tremont and Castle Hill, where the diner was. Oh my gosh. That's where J-Lo's from. She used to live at Castle Hill Avenue. How are we spinning off to a conversation about the Bronx? Right? El Chapo. I was talking about that earlier. Whatever happened to Noriega? Remember when we went and got him? There's a city in Texas called Castle Hills. And look, the situation going on is serious. But at the same time, you know, it's good. I like the sense of humor to what you guys are doing in chat. Keeps, you know what I mean? But, you know, we have to see what the president will say in about 2 hours. But I can't believe how many actual New Yorkers are in here. That's actually, I'm surprised by that. But you also know this, for those in the city, how much it's changed over the years. You know that. Well, a lot of people also, now, Ali, if I'm mispronouncing your name, I apologize. Again, there's people's, you know, it's varying opinions. A lot of people in the United States do not want the United States to be the world police or get involved in any prolonged conflicts or wars. You know, that is, I think, I would say a majority. And I cannot speak for everyone else, but I think that would be the consensus, is to stay out of these freaking conflicts. So I understand your point when you say that. And look, somebody just wrote, finally Venezuela is free. Thank you, Trump. So, you know, we have to see the real video images coming out of Venezuela before people start flipping out and saying, oh my gosh, because those people might be happy, no more. I mean, but we don't know what kind of political state is going to take over or move in or be replaced. We just don't know these things yet. We have to see how this plays out. Oh, we are seeing it. I mentioned that earlier too about the oil. I did. Yes, he didn't. He said it. He said it straight up. He wanted him out of office. He actually asked him to leave voluntarily. That they would help get him and his wife and their son out of the country. That he would, he can, that was actually brought up like a few weeks ago. They would take him out of the country, Maduro, his wife and son, but he had to step down as leader of Venezuela. That was weeks ago. So, again, I'm just reading your comments. There's comments coming from all over the place. And good morning to John Ostains, my buddy over there. Don't mess with the Albanians. Dude, I seen it literally with my own eyes. The stuff that went on in the Bronx. And it wasn't nice. And Exactly. Ask Venezuelans. They don't want Maduro. But the thing is, when you remove something, what replaces? This is why I say this is fluid. We have to see how this plays out. Like somebody mentioned, I'm not even aware of this person, Maduro's right-hand man. Is he, who's taking the reins right now in Venezuela? What's going on? I'm sure they're trying to scramble and figure out what the hell they're going to do, right? As far as the government. That's right, Pete. There was a 50 million amount. That's right. And that's what people were saying. I was talking about her earlier, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, that the U.S. recognized, I put the article up, that the U.S. recognizes her as the legitimate elected president of Venezuela. I can't think of her name right now. Right. It either gets replaced by the opposition party or vice president. Plain and simple. With the military, but I mean, their military didn't look too impressive, did it? I couldn't believe when I woke up this morning to this. And I know the focus right now, and I pray for the people of Venezuela. And I know the focus right now is on Venezuela. But remember what's going on in Iran. What's going on in Venezuela is one thing. There's a lot of people risking their lives right now protesting in Iran. I mean, if you haven't been paying attention to that, maybe you should keep an eye on that as well. 46 years. So there's a lot going on right now. A lot. And the president will be speaking in under 2 hours. It's like I said earlier, what a way to start the new year, huh? And like, there are a lot of comments coming in. Like someone said, Marco wants this because of Cuba. Yes, it's everywhere. It's widespread. It's like a tinderbox. I said this, I wrote a song about this in the lyrics. It's like one domino falls, what's next? Is this the first domino to drop? Think about it. There is a huge crowd, another New York City person. There's a huge crowd in Venezuela celebrating. It's like a parade outside. See, I can't, because I'm streaming on the Tube of the U and the Book of the Face. I can't grab certain things for obvious reasons. I am going to try to see if I could find some stuff now that you guys are mentioning that. Let's see. Because I'm hearing that a lot from you on TikTok, that they're celebrating in Venezuela. I would like to see, well, they got an image of, wow. What is this? I'm going to just download this clip. I know this has to do with Venezuela. Oh, how they went in. There's all kinds of video of the helicopters going in when they were capturing Maduro. All right, hold on. I'm trying to find what you guys put in there. And I'm not doing this to glorify it or anything. I just want to try to provide the information. You know what I mean? Because there are people that do that. It's not what this is about. There's a lot of people exploit it. This is not to be exploited. These are people's lives affected. I'm trying to find it. So just give me a second. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I found some videos about the people celebrating. I'm finding them now. There are people. I got one video so far. Another video. This looks like this happened right after because it's still dark. Because obviously it's daylight hours now. Oh, there's one from this morning. I'm in tears. Venezuelans are flooding the streets, draped in and waving their national flag, celebrating the capture of Maduro and the fall of his regime. That's the caption. I'm downloading the videos. I'm going to play them. And it's the same clip. There are people dancing in the streets. Literally, dancing. That's what I mean. Oh my gosh, look at all the people celebrating on the streets in the morning hours. This is what we need to see. The media needs to put this on there. And, you know, and it's about what the people of Venezuela are thinking and feeling right now. Forget about everybody's opinions looking from the outside in. What are the people of Venezuela feeling right now? That's what's important. It's their country. Wow, they're tearing everything down related to Maduro already. I'm going to just download these few because I could be here all day downloading these videos. Seriously. But we need this. I think this is important to share with people. The reaction on the ground. Because I don't know if the media is going to do it. To be honest. I don't know. Okay, let's see what we got. Because I've been downloading a lot of videos, so here's one. You ready? I can't put the sound. The people are out. Well, you would have to ask the president, and the president, you're going to have to, if you have questions about why all that, well, let's listen to what the president has to say at 11 a.m. And a lot of people will question the whys and all that. I mean, that's legitimate. Let me see what else I've got here. Because this was brought up in TikTok chat. Okay? This is what's going on this morning in Venezuela. Yeah, that's what Pete is exactly right. And that's why I think it's important to show this. So you're seeing some of the images coming out of Venezuela. Exactly. And I'm not watching the news, obviously. I'm here. But mainstream media will spin it however they're going to spin it. But this is what's really, truly going on right now on the ground in Venezuela. And I think it's important to put this on so people could see. Because you may not see this on mainstream media. Good morning, CJ. Look at them. They're hugging. There's people dancing. I mean, and I'm trying to find that video. I'm going to let this one play till I can find it because I downloaded so many videos. It's like a, kind of a mess. I don't know if it's the same one I played. Oh, look at the people dancing. And this is Spanish. Venezuelans celebrate in the streets of Santiago. That's what that says in Spanish. This is from a Spanish network. And I can't put the audio, obviously. I could talk over it. There's nothing wrong with that. So what about this? Are we going to see this on mainstream? Are we? For the person that said, talk to me, what does this mean for us? I would suggest in about an hour and 45 minutes, you put the news on and you watch what the president has to say. That would be my advice. What does this mean for us? Well, let's see what President Trump has to say. It's definitely not my place to say. I have an opinion, many, but to be honest, I want to see what the President of the United States has to say at 11 a.m. But it's pretty obvious. Here's another video. One more. I'm trying to multitask here. And by the way, good morning to everyone. I know this is a lot to take in, waking up. If you're just waking up, this is a lot. All right, I'm waiting for this video. There it goes. Let's see if I find it now. I'm going to have a lot of videos to delete later. All right, what does that one look like? Maybe it's MJ. It starts with an M. This one. All right, hold on. Look at all the people. Let's just soak this in. This is obviously before sunrise. Look at all the people out there. I mean, come on. They're waving their flags. They're celebrating. And look, good morning, Brenda. Remember, as I said, we all have our opinions as long as we are respectful to each other. Everybody has a voice. And obviously, there's a lot of things we may agree or disagree with. But that's okay. And that's what makes us free under a democracy. Where a lot of there are countries out there that you can't voice your opinion. And, we are blessed to live in a country like this, regardless of what you may think. At least we have those freedoms. Thank God. So, like I said, I was literally woken up by people calling me. I'm like, they kept calling. I'm like, why is somebody constantly calling me? What's going on? Something must be going on. I woke up at 6:30 this morning, to see this, I was like, whoa. And I'll say this too. Somebody brought this up on TikTok chat, and CJ, don't make me laugh. Because there's other platforms I'm streaming to, by the way, TikTokers. Regardless of what you think of this, United States went in, took out their defense systems, rapid response, precision, scooped up Maduro, and got him out of the country with his wife. I don't know about the son. I haven't heard nothing about that. This was a well-planned, well-thought-out operation. Regardless of what you think about it. You know? Because you're going to hear people say this is a crime to attack a sovereign country. A lot of people are going to say this was justified to free the people of Venezuela. A lot of people are going to say this is about oil. This has nothing to do with the drugs. You know, there's going to be a lot of opinions out there, and that's fine. But like I said earlier, numerous times, what are the people of Venezuela feeling and thinking right now? And I think it's pretty clear, so far what I've seen, that they're celebrating. Based on what I've seen. And I can't imagine like some of what people are saying in here. What is the media doing right now? What is the media doing right now? Are they showing this? Are they showing the people celebrating on the streets? And there's like, it's all over X. It's all over. I mean, I could spend all day downloading all the videos that I'm seeing on X. It's not like they don't have access to that. Do they want to is the question. To put whatever spin they want to put out there for the public. I'm just going to read what you guys are writing. What about the people that lost their lives to make this happen? Innocent people died. That is the horrible, unfortunate thing when innocent civilians. That is always horrific. Always. Can't say much on that. It's horrific. All medias aren't. I was on TV and none showing any news of this except Telemundo, but no celebrating. Wow, even Telemundo? Yeah, because people are happy they got rid of a dictator, which the media isn't covering. They aren't showing the areas I gotta be careful on TikTok when you write stuff, and why when they were taking the ruler. I have to be careful on certain words. They are just saying that it's so bad. Please stop glorifying this action. I'm not glorifying it. I've brought up everybody's opinion on this. I am not glorifying anything. I'm making everybody's points here. Everybody's opinions matter. I am not justifying it or denouncing it. I'm voicing what people and saying what people are saying here, giving people a platform to voice their opinions. I'm just saying, I'm not. If you've been watching for a while, you would know that that's not the case. The big media is falling on deaf ears. Look at the single kid who exposed all the fraud. That's media. You have international law for a reason. Yeah, Motown is right. I mean, this is definitely... But the Paper Tiger U1 is probably going to have an emergency session. And like somebody said, this is an attack on a sovereign country. Regardless, there's international laws. So there's a lot going on here. They have to go back and get billions to them too. Like I brought it up earlier. Is it about the oil? Venezuela has one of the largest oil reserves in the world. There was no involvement with or notification to Congress. I don't know that for fact. I don't know if they told the Gang of Eight last night that this was going to happen. I don't know. I can't speak to that. I don't know that. If they were given prior notice what was about to happen. I just don't know that. And I can't speak to that. Because I don't know. So need to attack when you are talking the problem? No need to attack. I'm trying to understand that. He breached the UN Charter by doing this. Again, this is going to be brought up. Remember, this is a fluid situation. It just happened literally hours ago. There's going to be a lot of debate and questions on this. There'll be support and those that say this is a war crime. But like Fish and Fitness said, look, the people are celebrating in Venezuela, and I've downloaded a few clips already. They're celebrating. I mean, you could debate this all day long. This is gonna be a conversation that is going to look. Well, this is this early this morning before sunrise, obviously. But like I just want to make that point. Is mainstream media covering this? I don't know. So I'm sure many of us will be paying attention to this. And remember, the president will be speaking in about 90 minutes to the nation. And some people are celebrating, as my friend said in the chat over here. You can fill any square with some folks that will agree with whatever, of course. Because I'm sure there are people that are supportive of Maduro that aren't too happy this morning. And it may be good for Venezuela, but I don't know enough about the situation to know if this is good or bad. If it's got bad motives, for sure. I know what I won't be watching. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. So, you know, look at coverage from the UK or any other international media. They are celebrating. They took the ruler by stealth, snuck in, and removed them. Why? The aerial maneuver. Not necessary. They also took Maduro's wife, yes. How is that not illegal? I'm just reading the comments from TikTok. Doesn't Venezuela have ties with Russian, not just Russia, China, and Iran? What does this mean for us? Good question. Reinvesting in Venezuela's oil, like the land that he mentioned a few weeks ago. We want the land back. The companies that were invested, which some still are, and there is still oil coming from Venezuela to the United States. That was brought up. I don't want to read that comment because I'll get in trouble tweeting. Believe me, it doesn't take much on this platform to get, you know what I mean? But, oh my gosh, KJ. You're right. the same way we say about the influence of China, Russia, Iran in our backyard neighborhood, just think how Russia feels with NATO's presence and everything around them. I'm just saying that just to put that in perspective. I'm playing something's advocate. I'm just stating that. I'm not saying I necessarily support that in an opinionated way. I'm just saying, on the flip side, yeah. You guys, like all of you, every one of you, Robert, all of you are bringing up valid points. So, I think pretty much all of us know where we stand, whatever opinion it is. I think now we just have to see how this all plays out. Really. And I'm praying for the people of Venezuela, because times are going to be really, really, really difficult for them in the days, weeks, months, who knows? This is their struggle. I always say this, like living in New York City, I'll use this as an analogy. Living there, knowing what it was like, and hearing people talk about the city, and they don't live in this city, but they judge what's going on in this city. I'm like, really? Do you live here? Do you know what's going on? Are you here? It's the same thing. It's so easy to judge from the outside with opinions, and politics has a major part to do with that. But what is it like on the ground? So I'm thinking about the people of Venezuela, plain and simple. And the people of Iran. And the people everywhere else. I live in a rural community in upstate New York. It's quiet. It's peaceful. I've been living here in this house for 20 years. There has never been, and I'm saying never, a crime in a felony way in my area. That's amazing to think about that. But think about how other people live out there and the conditions they live under. I can tell you stories in New York City that I experienced years ago, driving to Yankee Stadium for a game. I'm in the South Bronx, stopped at a light when gangbangers are shooting in front of my car at each other. And I'm like, oh my God. So, like I said, it's one thing. Chris, I'll call you back because I'm live streaming. There's a lot going on. The president is going to speak at 11 a.m., so I would definitely say keep an eye on and watch that.
Did you see the videos I sent you last night on Messenger?
I did. The stuff going on in Iran, I did. Yeah. I actually shared them on the screen last night when I was streaming.
Oh, wow, okay.
But it's all about Venezuela right now.
What's going on in Venezuela?
Oh my gosh, dude. Go turn on the news. Or better yet, go to X and look at what's really going on in Venezuela.
Okay.
Go. Call me. Call me later.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's another thing that somebody brought up that I wasn't familiar with. Caleb. That name keeps coming up. Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia. I gotta look into that more. Is that the person that's like the right-hand man of Maduro? Is that who that is? I don't know. You guys would have to fill me in on that. He was elected by the people. I would have to look into more on that. I would have to research that. You know, I can't speak on something I will not when I am not familiar. In July 2024, yeah, CJ. No, well, you're the only one on that tube of the U, but there's another tube of the U going on, and there's quite a bit of people tuning in on TikTok. And I'm trying to get all their opinions and points out. But at the same time, I have to watch what the words are, because on TikTok, you have to be really mindful and careful. And they're just expressing their opinions, which is fine. That's the way it should be. And you know what's cool in a way, what's cool about what's going on? You guys are having a conversation going back and forth respectfully. And I have total respect for that in itself. You know? I like that. That you guys are going back and forth, you're debating, and you're making your points, and you're kind of responding and listening to each other despite the point that you don't agree. You know what I mean? I think that's a good thing, in my opinion. Exactly. It's what the Venezuelan people, that's what I was trying to make the point a few minutes ago. It's what they're thinking and feeling right now. That's the bottom line. Just like in Iran. Same thing. It's their country. They got to live there. It's their livelihoods. That's at stake. Their futures, their families, their loved ones. How does it affect them? How do they move on from this? Does this mean they're going to prosper and things get better? That's what it's about. But it's way too early because this is so fluid. So that's an excellent point. And yes, I was looking at that too, of all the people celebrating and everything else. But at the same time, I'm sure Maduro supporters aren't too happy right now. For the flip side. But do you honestly think they're, with the way, and again, we're looking at this raw. Do you think that is there going to be clashes between Maduro supporters and people that are celebrating? Or are Maduro supporters now just going to stay on the low? Right? It's an interesting question. And like somebody just brought up, wartime brought up, what about Colombia? What are they thinking right now? What about Mexico? Or Peru? What are they thinking right now? I bet you they're scrambling in Colombia. I don't know so much about the Mexico thing, because that's a big one. Because it really is Mexico. I could bring up the chart. Because it's really Mexico. And I have a U.S. document that was created last March by our government stating that. I showed it earlier. And it was submitted to Congress. This one. Just to put this in perspective. And I have it right here already, the document. This is extensive. Mexico is the principal source and transit country for illicit drugs trafficked to the United States, including fentanyl, methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, and marijuana. Mexican suppliers are responsible for production of most fentanyl, heroin, and methamphetamine destined for the United States. Mexico is the largest source country of fentanyl and fentanyl analogs trafficked to the United States. Mexico-based Sinaloa and New Generation Jalisco cartels are the primary distributors of fentanyl and fentanyl analogs in North America. Companies in the People's Republic of China are the largest source of precursor chemicals and equipment used to manufacture illicit fentanyl and other synthetic drugs in Mexico. So Mexico. And this is an actual document by the United States Department of State Bureau for International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs. It was done in March 2025, and it was submitted to Congress. This is an actual document. To put these things in perspective a little bit. And that's another video that I showed earlier this morning. Exactly, Robert. They are the major transit hub. And it's like 83% of people trying to smuggle it in points of entry into the United States are American citizens. That you can look up on another government site, United States Commission of Sentencing, and the arrest involved in fentanyl. It's like 83% are American citizens arrested on trucks, vehicles, persons, points of entry, legal points of entry. Don't take my word for it. Do the research. So there's a lot going on here. It is a hub. It's a transit hub. Yes, I have that graph. I have that too. Hold on, there's a lot going on my screen. And I gotta take care of Mom in a few minutes. Gotta take care of Mom. Let me see if I can find it. Here. This is a chart I'm going to share on the screen. Robert brings up a valid point. And it shows that. Mexico, fentanyl, methamphetamine, heroin. Colombia, cocaine. China, the fentanyl. Peru, also cocaine. But look, Mexico, transit hub. Exactly what Robert said, coming into the United States. And the report that you just seen, the 2025 U.S. government report, I just showed that on the screen. For context. Just to put everything in a little context. Based on statistics and data and an actual U.S. report. That was done March 2025. So, I'm just trying to give a little background on that part. So, this is fluid. There's a lot. And that's why I say Venezuela, a lot of people might say, oh, this is all about the oil. And there's a lot of questions. Wartime, that's very possible. I honestly think Colombia and Mexico. I don't know. I'm obviously speculating completely. I don't know. But it's something to be mindful of moving forward. Definitely. CJ, I see that. Thank you, CJ, for that. So, I would just say be open-minded, be objective, try to see the information coming out, because I don't know necessarily what the mainstream media is doing right now. Do your own diligence, do your own research. There's places that you can get the information. Like, I'm going to be keeping an eye on X of these videos coming out of Venezuela and also out of Iran. And that's another thing. What is China and Russia's response? I think China's going to stay silent because I think China's like, okay, I think China's prize is Taiwan. Got to keep an eye on that too. Yeah, Pete. And that also brings it up in that article. The states involved with the trafficking: Texas, California, Oregon, California, even Western New York coming in from Canada. Because I've done extensive research on this. And I probably missed a couple. Arizona, but Washington State. You're right, Pete. Tell exactly what you just said. Pete, you bring up a very important part. I could speak from my chair living in New York, but talk to the people that live near that border and what they go through. They live there. They know what's going on. Try telling them what they know living there from someone who doesn't. You cannot relate. You don't know what's going on. You're not here. So I don't want to hear it. And I totally get that. Just like we don't know what's going on truly in Venezuela. But it looks like, from what I'm seeing right now, the general consensus is that people are celebrating. CJ, I get it. She says the border of California is fine. I grew up on the border. But again, that's your personal experience. Like I grew up in New York City in the Bronx near Pelham Bay. It was a good neighborhood. But if I drove a little bit to the south and west to Hunts Point or to the South Bronx, 3rd Avenue, near Yankee Stadium, it's different. You know? It may not be so bad where I am, but it doesn't take much of a drive to go somewhere where it's not so good. And Pete says, come over to Texas. Different story from California. You know? So, we all have our personal experiences. Good and bad. So, you have to take that into account too. But I will say this, because I'm going to get off soon, because I have my own personal things. Like, here she comes, just as I was about to say it. Hello, Momzilla.
Hi.
You okay?
I'm all itchy.
Got to take care of Mom, right?
I gotta go to the other place.
Yes, go to the other one.
This is right.
Yes. But my general message is peace, love, my God, prayers. You're going to go read now? Yeah, I got to go take care of Mom. I got to give her a medication. Make her breakfast. Make me breakfast. So it's not just about Mom. I got to take care of me. I got to walk the dog. I got to feed the cats. You want to see something before I go? That's adorable. On a lighter side. And remember, the president will be speaking in a little over an hour. I'm going to show you something in real time. Now, I don't know if my camera's working outside, but we take care of the feral cats for many years here. And I have the Ring doorbells. I have 3 of them. And it is cray cold here right now. Alexa, what's the temperature?
It's 22 degrees right now, with a high of 28.
What's it like in
19
Texas?
today. There's a 35% chance of snow showers tonight.
And California, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. How beautiful it is where you all live. Temperatures.
What would you like me to add?
That's what it looks like in front of my house right now. It looks so cold out
Okay,
there.
opening the
Alexa,
outdoor
stop.
camera.
68 degrees in San Antonio. Oh, I'm jealous. It is 20. What did it say? I can't say she. It's like 22 degrees. Doesn't look too windy, so the wind chill can't be, but it's cold. Now, and sunny. I'm coming down to San Antonio. I will, KJ, I'll talk to you privately on TikTok about your PDF. I'll check it out. So, watch what happens in a second. I'm going to literally go outside. And you're going to see the cats unless the camera's offline. The battery. That's unfortunate. Oh, man. And I can't swap the camera. I don't know if the other camera would detect me going out there to feed the cats because it's out of view. I could maybe swing the camera, or I could take the camera off. I'll try that. It's the only way that's going to work because the other cat, the battery's exhausted. But watch, before you all leave and I say goodbye, and my love to all of you, and have a great weekend. Pray for peace. That's what I do. And I'm definitely going to light a candle because that's what I do. For everyone. So let's see what happens. It's freezing outside. I'm going to move the camera. This one's going to want to go outside as soon as I start to get dressed because that's what he does. My husky. Let's see if I can set this up. And watch how awesome it is. The cats are in heated houses outside the front. They're two feral cats. Well, we have heated houses for the cats. Heated. It's 19 in Michigan. Yeah, it does. The cold does affect the battery. So what I'm going to do is go outside my door. The ring is right here. I'm going to try to move it to where the front of the house is. Oh my God, it's freezing. Oh my God. Oh. All right, let's see. Yeah, we got a view now. Okay. So now watch what happens. They should be in their heated houses when I go to feed them. Mom, what? Wait, hold on. I'm doing something. I'll be with you in a minute, Ma. Give me a minute. I gotta open the door. So you've seen one come out. I don't know. The other one is like a hunter. The other cat is like a hunter. She's out and about doing something already. But I don't know if you noticed the cat come out of her house to go eat. I don't know if you caught that. But she's out. She's eating right now. There's 2 heated houses there for the cats. So usually one is in one and the other's in the other. Now, I don't know where the other one is. Out and about. I would not be surprised she comes running from wherever she is to eat now. So we take care of the cats. Anyway, what's up, Storm Chaser? Good morning. I'm going to now say goodbye to everybody because I got to do stuff with Mom. Be well, be blessed, be safe. Love to everyone. Stay warm if you're up here in the north. Enjoy that beautiful weather down south. And God bless the United States of America and our troops. And pray for peace. And I pray for all those in Venezuela. I'll be back later on this afternoon. I need to take care of Mama. Anyway, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Be well, be blessed, be safe. And don't forget the president will be speaking at about 11 a.m. to the nation, to address the nation. All right, everybody, I'm out. Have a great one, and see everybody later. And for those, now that I'm off of TikTok, Toxic, John, CJ, anybody else that may be watching on the other platforms, you all have a great one. Same thing. Be well, be blessed, be safe. Have a great weekend. And